nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And it's worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First-rate podcast as well. Of course, Fede Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
Hello and welcome to a stress-free post-game podcast. Real Madrid get the job done against Levante 4-1. We had a lot of good storylines, pretty good performance from 1 to 90 bar, maybe two blips during the game, but we got a Vini golazo, Vini assist, Mbappe brace, Goulet assist, Mastantuono getting his first goal as a Real Madrid player, the first of many. What a nice, beautiful Tuesday evening. Leah Revelle is here. Welcome. How you doing?
Great. No more therapy sessions. Are we back? We're so back.
This is the first time in a long time where I just felt like, I recognize my club.
Facts.
This is my club.
Smiling. Kiyan, we're smiling.
It's a genuine smile. It's not a forced fake smile. It's just coming out of me. I'm beaming. I'm glowing. All right, Leah, I'd like to start here. Levante is a team that I've watched twice this season.
Mhm.
Once tonight against us and another one against Barcelona.
Mhm.
And their manager, Julian Calero, has done a great job.
Mhm.
And I think there's been a couple games this season where a lot of the perception after the game has been like, there was two games in particular. This one and Marseille. Marseille, after the Marseille game, it was like, I can't believe we barely beat Marseille. That was a common narrative that came out of it.
Mhm.
And my thing was like, I was kind of confused about like how people are valuing Marseille, especially like after they went in what they did to PSG last night, I think it was.
Mhm.
Levante also is a team that's been pretty good under Calero, and they fight. They're good in transition. They gave Barcelona a ton of problems. A little bit unlucky to not come away from that game with anything, and it really came down to just poor finishing and not being clinical, and they don't have the muscle. But I think Real Madrid's perspective has been they've gotten better, I think, every game.
Mhm.
Every game just looks a little bit more polished, a little bit more refined, a little bit more clear. The identity becomes clear. The roles are becoming clear. And I'm curious to know what your thoughts on the starting lineup was, Leah. This game and the last game has been kind of funky with the lineups. Like, we're not able to really predict these lineups properly, and I'm okay with that because that means the opponents can't predict the lineups properly. It's harder for them to scout. But I think part of the reason that we can get away with these funky lineups is that, like, last game we had 4 attackers and 2 midfielders. And Espanyol, despite it being such a top-heavy team, Espanyol gave us like no problems defensively. Courtois was barely tested.
Yeah.
In this game, it kind of like turned out that we had Carreras center back, and at my read on it kind of like more 4-3-3. Even there were times where it was kind of 3 at the back, where you had Asensio, Housen, and Carreras, and then you had Goulet and Fran Garcia as like high wing backs. It wasn't always like that, but it did kind of shape shift throughout the game. And I think part of the reason you can get away with these lineups is that the principles remain the same, in that the ball is at your feet and you're going to be limiting defensive tests. But I'm curious what your read on it was, starting lineup, and I haven't spoken to you a while. I'm sure you're, as an Argentinian household, as a River Plate household, I'm sure you're also happy with Mastantuono's development.
Yeah. In terms of the lineup, I think there's, in my opinion, my take on this is that I think it's fun. I think that it is a good indication that like there's no favorites yet, if you will. He's trying out a bunch of things, and that's like what new managers should be doing. Like, no one is, in theory, better than the. I mean, obviously it's not true, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, no one has a confirmed starting spot in the 11, even though they do. But we've seen Mbappe be subbed. We've seen some rotation there as well. even so. So yeah, I think it's great that he's trying different things. I think systems and formations in game and like the way that our shape changes in certain moments and in certain moments in the game is also very interesting because, as you mentioned, sometimes we switch to a 3 at the back and then we have very involved wing backs, which obviously is closer to what he played at Leverkusen. I also think nothing is solidified until Jude is like fully back. I think that once Jude comes back is when we'll actually start seeing a more consistent lineup. I think that the inconsistencies at right wing and the inconsistencies just in the 11 are just a good indication that he's not solidifying anything yet because he doesn't have his full 11 yet. Obviously, we have injuries, we have suspensions, we have I guess Housen was back from suspension, but I think there's just a lot of moving parts. And yeah, I think like as soon as Jude is back and fully fit, I think we'll start seeing a more like consistent 11. I think Ceballos has been great, honestly. I think that I'm happy that he's getting his moments. And it's kind of nice. I feel like, I don't know, the emotional side of me is like, this is what you have to do as a manager to keep everyone happy. Everyone's getting their moments, except maybe Endrick, poor guy. But, you know, everyone's getting minutes. People are starting. Mastantuono, to answer your next question, it's first of all, I'm shocked. And also not shocked with how he's developing, but I'm shocked that he's getting the time and the minutes and the consistency that he is. Like, he's starting games. He's starting not just one game. He's starting several games. And don't get it twisted. He deserves to start these games. I think from our first conversation about him and like, you know, wow, great performance, raw talent. Like you mentioned, every single match that he's playing, he's just getting better and better and better and better. And I think that Xabi Alonso, he's young and raw enough to be able to mold. And I think that's what Xabi Alonso is doing. I think we're seeing the what's the word? Reciprocation of that. I guess, if you will, if that's the word. And yeah, I'm stoked for him. I think that this goal was a long time coming. He's had so many close chances in the last couple games. And yeah.
You know, have you ever seen the movie Life? That
No.
alien movie with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Maybe I have.
So the whole look, any basically like alien movie where like they discover like this life form, very primitive life form, and it just like evolves rapidly. Like,
yes.
So like if at first it's like this little blob and it's like just kind of like moving around, and then it just like, and then it like eats somebody, and then it becomes bigger and stronger, and then within like an hour or two it gets bigger and evolves, and it's just like rapidly evolving. That's Mastantuono. He's like that little alien. Like,
yeah, literally.
Every second he just evolves, and I'm so excited to see where he's going to be in like 2 years, 5 years. He's just exponentially getting better, and he's only 18. He's literally the youngest Real Madrid starter in the past 20 years, and he's fantastic. And I thought, like, when he hit the crossbar off that Vinny shot, and when it came to him, and I was like, man, this guy has been so close to scoring. And eventually when he does score, it's going to be like a ketchup bottle. That's my theory. So we've seen one goal.
Yep.
Right foot, underside of the bar. And I think, I don't know what you think. Well, you already kind of said what you think. I agree with you. I didn't see him being a protagonist this season. Like, the way I envisioned Mastantuono was that he's going to be a kind of a player for the future. He gets minutes gradually and he becomes, you know, a player that you get excited for. He provides valuable minutes, but now I think he's kind of locked himself in. And I said this after the game against Espanyol, that like everyone says that he's probably the one who's expendable when Jude returns to the starting lineup. And that may or may not be true. I think it'll probably come down to him or Goulet and maybe, you know, and whoever else. And just predicting what Xabi Alonso will do is futile. But even if he does get benched, it's not going to be, he's not going to take a huge backseat.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing a lot. If anything, it'll be Brahim who will be dusted, I think.
Agreed.
In the pecking order, but it's not going to be Mastantuono. Yeah, he's a ton of fun. I kind of floated this around in the Espanol post game podcast too, and that there's certain parts of his game that remind me of Angel Di Maria. I don't know if does that kind of is that a comparison that you see?
It
Is
could
it
be.
just my eyes or?
It could be like the explosiveness and the energy, like the fire that he has. Maybe it's just because they're both Argentinian. Who knows? Just kidding. But no, I think it is like that explosiveness and like, yeah, I guess energy is the best way that I can put it. Which is great because he was great and I love Di Maria. They played together. Did they? No, they didn't. But I'm
No, I
sure.
don't think so.
No, I don't think they did.
Did Di Maria retire from the national team?
Yeah.
Okay.
But recently. So they might have played like 1 or 2 matches together. I don't know. But not enough to like mold. I want to touch on something actually that you said in terms of being expendable. In our heads, Jude comes back. He's locked into the 11. That makes sense, obviously.
Yeah.
However, with how he's been rotating and how he's been choosing lineups, do we know for sure that that will happen? Because maybe we'll see something. I don't doubt, obviously, on paper, Jude walks into that 11. He should. He was expensive. I don't think Suarez will, stand for anything less. However, we don't know where he'll be, like when he's fully fit and fully back and like starting games consistently. And maybe we will see some of the same rotation that Vinny has had, for example. Or maybe Mastantuono starts and then they kind of, again, change shape and shift formations mid-game. Who knows?
I think Bellingham does walk into the lineup, but I just feel like this guy is potentially the best player in the world on his day. I just don't see any way he takes a backseat at all when he gets in. I understand like what's happening now is that he's easing into it. 7 minutes or 6 minutes the last game. I think he played like 20 today. And he just like in that first cameo that against Espanyol, he immediately looked awesome.
Yeah.
Today there was just so much composure. Like one of the things that when I said stress-free win, like earlier in the podcast, part of that was that when Xabi made the subs, the game became so boring in a good way that like we just killed it off. There was no stress.
Yeah.
Bellingham was just knocking it around, brings so much composure and control and calm to the team. I think that's invaluable. And I think, Lucas had asked me a few days ago on the podcast, is there like who steps up in the scoring department outside of Mbappe? I think there are a few things that are inevitable, which is like Mastantuono eventually was going to start scoring. Vinny, obviously if he plays like today, he's unstoppable. And then there's also the Bellingham factor. Like when he comes in, I think he's going to contribute to the scoring department quite a bit. Goulier has also gotten into a ton of great goal scoring positions throughout the season, even today. So I don't know. This will, what's crazy is that the next game is the hardest game of the season so far. That's the Metropolitano. That is, is Bellingham going to be ready from the first minute in that game, match fitness wise? I don't know. We're going to find out. I had a question for you. What was your reaction to the Vinicius goal?
Thank God. Honestly, thank God. I feel like he already looked good today. Who knows? It came after yesterday, so maybe there's a little bit of like justice that he feels, like some vindication. Who knows? But whatever kind of coincidence it was, he looked better today. And then his goal obviously was a golazo. So
yeah,
I think that the fact that he scored again, he scored a great goal again. You could see the difference in confidence from even that goal, the rest of the match. He looked completely different. He's giving old Vinny vibes again, and he danced after his goal for a celebration. I'm happy for him. I think hopefully this is the beginning of, what we have seen in the past. Him and Mbappe looked great together. Good things. Good stuff.
This is a very, very niche analogy, and I apologize for anyone who doesn't resonate with it, but in the 2000 NBA slam dunk contest, that was the Vince Carter slam dunk contest, and that's the one where he did a dunk where he did what was called the elbow hang, which was never seen before in the history of basketball until that moment. And he dunks it, and he just hangs with his elbow on the rim after the dunk, and the whole stadium goes silent. And then, like, the camera pans to like Michael Keaton and Shaq, and they're just like this, like jaw agape. That was me during the Vinny goal. I didn't even celebrate. I was like, "What the hell did I just see?" It was such a crazy, crazy moment because it came out of nowhere, and it was like, "Oh my god, that went in!" Like,
yeah.
and I spent like all of halftime just rewatching it, and every angle is amazing because the curve on it is really unique because it's not like, I don't know, I can't explain it. You've all seen it,
angle's
but the
crazy.
way it curves is incredible from that angle. And
Yeah.
obviously he had the great assist, and he was a thorn in Levante's side all game. What were the final numbers? 3 key passes, 7 shots, 5 of those on target, 4 completed dribbles. He was fouled 6 times, a goal, an assist. This felt more like vintage Vinny.
Yeah, I agree. Which is great. And now with Mbappe getting into form and with everyone, pieces are falling into place, and I love it. I want to actually say something while you're reading those stats. Our conversion overall was much better and more efficient, which, again, contributing to our PTSD last season was that we had 700 trillion shots and no goals. So even that is looking better. Everything is shaping up, hence no therapy.
I also liked how the second 2 goals, so the 3-1 and the 4-1. And I actually want to talk about the goal we conceded to, which was very bizarre. The Mbappe, the way he won that penalty.
Yeah.
He is so good at just hoodwinking defenders. Like, that's the exact same penalty he won earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Where he goes basically to the byline, and he looks like he's going to shoot. If you know Mbappe, you know he's not actually going to shoot from that angle. It's not a good goal scoring position. You know he's going to cut back, but defenders can't help themselves, and he just cleans out Mbappe. The Panenka was cold.
And the celebration.
I didn't even see the celebration. And funny enough is that not only did I not see the celebration, I didn't even see the 4th goal because it was like 2 goals in
right
2 minutes that he scored. Yeah. And I was happy to note that Goulet was the guy who made the assist for that one. And he nearly had another assist to Mbappe later. So the Goulet assist agenda is full on board. And I also just wanted to make note of the first goal because we talked about how insane that Vinicius shot was. What I liked about that, kind of like the sequences leading up to it, Leah, was it came on the back of like just waves of counter pressing where Levante just could not escape. They didn't know what to do. And between Carreras, Ceballos, Guler, Mastantuono, we just kept stepping up, winning the ball over and over again. And it eventually led to the Vinny goal.
Yeah.
And I think those are the things that you look at Xabi-ball. I'm writing about this now, but I would say this is the best press that Real Madrid have had in like a decade, probably. And I think it's on course to be the best we've ever had in the club.
Could be.
And I know that sounds like an exaggeration, but it's just not really a thing that Real Madrid does. And obviously, like, you go back enough through history, and pressing wasn't as prominent as it is these days, so it's kind of natural. Let's take a super chat. Shayan Saha says, "Great performance, but we need Bellingham in the midfield against big teams because I don't trust Arda's defensive skills." Any thoughts on this one?
I mean, like, I don't know. But I don't know if he replaces Arda. Do you know what I mean? Like, if today I think he comes in, he replaces Ceballos, and then
Probably.
steps that way. And I think Arda, like, I think we could see a similar lineup to what we saw today, and just flipping out Ceballos and Bellingham. Here's what I'll say. I think if we don't, this is kind of like alluding to my next question as well. So it's 2 parts. I think if we completely replace Arda for Bellingham, we're losing a huge creative outlet in our attack. I think Bellingham obviously is a creative outlet. We need him for more reasons than one. But the way that Arda, he's meze ozil. He's meze ozil. His vision, his link-up play, his, the way that it's just different than the way that Arda distributes is different than the way that Jude distributes. And I think that both roles are very valuable to us, which is why I don't know if I see Arda being replaced. And I would have agreed with you. Oh, yeah, Tchouaméni. Fuck, you're right.
Well, no, but your entire premise is correct. I think it's Ceballos that gets dropped before Goulier gets dropped. So the way I envisioned it was Tchouaméni, Fede Valverde, Bellingham, and Goulier.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that means Mastantuono was the one that gets dropped in that situation. But it would also mean a formation change because you're not going to be deploying a 4-3-3 anymore.
Right. Which leads me to my next question. Is out of the two, who would you drop? Arda or Mastantuono? Because I think that's beginning to be very difficult.
It's not my problem. It's Alonso's problem, and I'm okay with it because he's smarter than me. It's not above my pay grade. I don't know.
Hard, especially like originally I would have said Mastantuono. Obviously, he's young, he's raw, he has work to do. Arda's kind of done his paid his dues. He deserves a starting spot. He contributes well. Again, different roles, different outlets, different play styles, if you will. And I think, again, both valuable. If we have the creative outlet, but we don't have the goal scoring, then that's where I think, well, both of them, Arda and Mastantuono. It's hard, honestly. Fede in a long shot today, which is like vintage Fede also.
I thought Fede was good. But can we go back to that discussion? I think part of the reason why I'd be hesitant to drop Mastantuono, and either way, like you're gonna lose a really, really good starter, whoever it is. If it's Goulier, Mastantuono is just such an infectious defensive energy that like just works so hard, and he's just more physical and more strong than Goulier. And I don't know, it really depends. Like part of the reason why I enjoyed the Club World Cup was because we had Goulier and Bellingham coexisting really nicely, like as just a funnel chain in possession. But we didn't have Mastantuono on the Club World Cup, so I don't know. Either way, I think the dynamic definitely changes whether you bench Goulier or Mastantuono. I really don't know. It's a curious question. There's one thing that I wanted to mention that's super important though, because we're talking about Mastantuono and all this, and big news. Did you see this?
See what?
You're about to find out.
Emoji-mates.com
just dropped Mastantuono stuff.
Hell yeah.
Hey, there's a onesie for your baby.
I know, I saw it. So cute, right? Chat, get stocks in early because it's going to be worth.
There's like a whole page of Mastantuono stuff, and then obviously you scroll down, you get stuff like Cristiano Ronaldo noodle hair and every other Real Madrid player. I believe Carreras dropped as well, or is dropping soon. So go to emoji-mates.com. You can use code MM15 off at checkout, and you get 15% discount. That's only for Managing Madrid Podcast listeners. Go to emoji-mates.com and use code MM15 off. All right. Yeah. I'm going to let you choose the next point of discussion.
Vinny, because did we talk a lot about Vinny? Ish,
but you can obviously add more to it.
Yeah, no, I just think it's the beginning of something beautiful. And listen, maybe it's some voodoo shit, who knows? But the coincidence, it's like maybe because it's kind of like the same event 1 year ago to the day is kind of like when we saw the drop in form for obvious reasons. And it's like he came back and got his vengeance, and now maybe this is like the click that he needed. Like, oh, actually, because maybe he saw that he's being vindicated online with all of the videos and stuff that came out last season. Like there's a lot of you know what I mean? So maybe that it's as simple as that. Who knows? It's coincidental, but
I, these things they're hard to prove the causation exact, like when is the turning point of a dip in form or a rise in form. But I also don't think, the Ballon d'Or stuff aside, I also don't think we can discount Xabi Alonso's effect on him.
Mhm.
Just the fact that Vinicius does know that there's competition now, I think can
Yeah.
only light a fire in him.
Yep.
There's no like question to me, like indisputably, arguably, if you get today's version of Vinicius, like it's indisputable to me. Like he has to play.
Yeah.
Like if you can get like, to me, arguably three of the best players in the world, the three best players in the world, like when on form, Bellingham, Mbappe, Vinny. If you
Yeah.
get all these guys functioning at their best, this is a team that really is really, really hard to stop. We've
Mhm.
just never seen all three of those guys click together at their best yet.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm hopeful Xabi Alonso can unlock it. One of the things that I wanted to kind of go back to the starting lineup because I thought it was interesting, and one of the things that shouldn't be glossed over here is that we won this game with one of the strongest benches I've ever seen. Like these are the players who were not on the field in the starting lineup. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Militao, Danny Carvajal, Jude Bellingham,
Insane.
uh, Brahim, Gonzalo Garcia, Endrick, etc.
Yeah.
You won this game with heavy rotation, rest to all those guys. The schedule is insane
Hmm.
against a really good opponent at home who was really good in their own home. This is a huge this is huge. Like the rotation, man. Like we haven't had rotation. And I think part of the thing, like I was looking at what are the options he could have deployed um realistically if he wanted to rest Militao and he wanted to rest Chouameni.
Hmm.
Like if you wanted to rest Militao when you're already thin on the center back situation, what you could have done is you could have gone with Alaba if you wanted to. Um, I guess you could have put Fede right back and Asensio center back if you really wanted to. Obviously, that was a whole thing that Fede doesn't want to play there, and Xabi Alonso is trying to respect that as much as he can. Like you could have done all those things. In the end, I think it's also important to like your point earlier about using the whole squad. Fran Garcia got a look today. Like you, this is I think part of the tricky thing about managing a team. When the day comes where you need to deploy Fran Garcia because you have no choice and he hasn't played at all up until that point of the season, it's really hard to come in ice cold. So
Hmm.
you need to figure out ways to get all these guys minutes throughout the season so that they're kind of warming up to the time
Yeah.
when they're really needed. So this is just again really impressive to me that he rotated in this game, was up 2-0 at halftime. And I know we had a couple uncomfortable moments,
Hmm.
but largely it was under control. I like to show you this. This is I check this after every game, as you guys know. This is this Sofa Score attacking momentum. Real Madrid is the blue. These are the two blips. There was a little bit in the first half where Levante started to press a little bit, and we controlled that. And this is just all us domination, domination. This is the start of the second half, which I actually was a little bit worried about because our second halves have not been strong. I'm not entirely sure what happened defensively on the goal that Levante scored, but it was quite bizarre to see us just kind of shut off and unplug our controllers.
Hmm.
Fede, who I thought had probably his best game so far, on
Hmm.
that sequence also just decided not to track. It wasn't even his man, but he did just decide not to track. And then Asensio just didn't put any pressure on the goal scorer either. But other than that, I thought we were fine.
I have something to say before you get
Mhm.
into this about Xabi Alonso and rotation. First of all, the
Please.
fact that we can even rotate means we have depth, which we had neither of last season. Sometimes, there weren't substitutions at all, or in like the 80-something minute. And I think that is also commendable with a grueling schedule like we have, being able to at least, if not rotate, using subs and using all of them. I think is really important. And then to what you said, exactly that like if Fran Garcia never plays and then someone gets injured and we need him to step in, he's going from not playing the entire season to now being relied upon against a Lamine Yamal. And that's not realistic. And we've seen that in the past where we've had these conversations with like whoever, even Asensio. Asensio was an anomaly, but some of the Castilla players that came up and played with us last year, like they got destroyed because obviously, like, not the best example because they wouldn't have necessarily gotten minutes beforehand. But yeah, I just think the rotation is extremely important for several reasons. But then also being able to rely on your reserves in games like this. These are the ones that you have to win the league. Like the big ones, the Clásicos, the Madrid derbies, like are important, but I feel like it comes down to these like throwaway ones that maybe last year we would have won like barely won nothing, you know, from a penalty. And now we're scoring goals, we're creating chances, and we want to be able to rely on reserves to do that as well. And on top of that, I think sometimes a manager being able to build a lineup based on the opponent and based on like the research, the market research, if you will, done before the game, it makes sense. Maybe some players are better suited, even from an attacking perspective. Like maybe we'll see an equal rotation between Arda and Mastantuono based on the opponent. Who works better in those situations? You know, maybe not so much Rodrigo Vini, but like same idea, you know, Camavinga, Tchouameni, whoever. And that's cool too. Whereas like in previous years, we've just seen same lineup. And injuries happen that way. So all good.
It's something we never had. And this is why I didn't understand the complaints about these wins in the past few games, just because certain fan favorite players were not in the lineup and or playing the minutes that they wanted their favorite players to play. I'm like, this is what we needed. This is exactly what we needed all season last season. And I hate to simplify it that way because there were other things that were going wrong. And it was just the perfect storm to have a disastrous season last season. But this is one of the many things that was going wrong. It's like we were running certain players into the ground. And there was just this insistence to just play the same players over and over again when you had you had other issues that needed to be addressed with players who were not even getting a lick. Super chat that ties into kind of what you were talking about with Mastantuono. Ed Sylvester says, over time, can Franco grow into a right central midfielder, Goulet's backup?
To answer the question, I think so, but I think they'll be just completely different players and used for completely different reasons. I don't necessarily think if Mastantuono continues to develop at the rate that he's developing, and like if this is the ketchup bottle, if you will, I think he's just as valuable as Arda, like simultaneously in their growth. So I think instead of a backup, we might see something more like a rotation based on opponent, whomever is better in certain situations.
Part of the reason why I brought up Di Maria earlier, and the moment when I kind of thought about Di Maria was actually when I was watching Argentina during the international break. When I saw the role Mastantuono had in that team, there were so many occasions where he would just drop deep, carry the ball, play defense. And he did that in the last 3 games for Real Madrid as well. So again, I'm not going to advocate for it, but I think in theory he could probably play that role. I think he could.
Yeah. For sure.
One more from Samer Zarur, who says, it's not Ancelotti anymore. Now each game has a different plan in the lineup. Rotation at its best. It's about time we'll find the benefits of Xabi's system. Listen, we all just kind of are excited, cautiously excited. The real tests are coming. But so far, I would say so good. I've been having this on my screen for ages, and I just
sorry
wanted to just bring... No. It's... I would comfortably say that we've deserved to win every single game we've played in this season.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is just part of the reason why I'm enamored with Xabi-ball is that even if you have moments of suffering, you're just so overwhelmingly in control most of the game that it doesn't matter. Levante's XG 1.7. It's actually pretty decently high.
I was just going to say that, and then the shots that it shows, this is more than we've seen against other teams that should be, in theory, better than a newly promoted team.
Yeah.
So it just kind of goes to show what kind of opponent they are.
So for those of you guys listening on your podcast app and not on YouTube, Real Madrid's XG is 4.06. Like, think about these changes. This was the one where Mastantuono hits the post. Vinicius in the 40th minute. Bellingham, I vaguely remember this one, although towards the end of the game I was just doing podcast prep, so I kind of don't remember this one, to be honest. Vinicius had another one at the end that could have made it 5-1. So, yeah. Okay. I wanted to ask you about several players that I think we didn't talk about yet. I was going to ask you about Ceballos, but I think you and I both agree that he was pretty good.
Yep.
We spoke about Fede. What about Raul Asensio?
I think he had a great performance. I think he is kind of, I don't want to say he fell off because that's really harsh, but his form dipped at the end of last season. Obviously, a lot of our defenders came back from injury, and he was no longer needed in that starting role, which I think this is the perfect role for him. He silently, I don't know if anyone realized this, but he silently took a first team number, meaning that he's like fully, not playing in Castilla anymore. He's in the first team, which means that he's going to be rotated in situations like this. I think he's like nicely slotting into that Nacho role. And yeah, credit where credit's due. He had a good performance. It was solid. It's obviously not our starting defensive lineup, but we need desperately, again, going back to rotation, we need players like that can just slot into that role. He's getting minutes, he's getting match fitness, and he'll be there when we need him.
I think in the last couple games he's been quite solid.
Yep.
The one blip he has is the goal we conceded. I was trying to kind of go through his rationale about not challenging for the ball, and this is my take. I think he saw Courtois come out, and that if he goes in and joins that, he might throw Courtois off and let just kind of Courtois deal with it. That's my read in the situation. Overall, though, I think he's looked very solid on defense. And I mean, today the way it was set up, he was not asked to attack as a right back because that's not his game either. So we also had him just kind of pinned to make sure he stops Levante's breaks. Yeah. We gave the wide right side mostly to Guler, Mastantuono. Fede sometimes drifted out there, but I thought he was good too. And let me see, who else did we not talk about? Housen.
Yeah, I mean, he had a couple games off. I think that he's still unanimously, him and Carreras is like, they're unbelievable signings. I can't believe, I actually was doing a deep dive of him last night, like looking at his history. And the dude just started playing first team football a couple years ago. And he's already starting for Real Madrid and starting for Real Madrid. You know what I mean? Going from Bournemouth to Real Madrid is crazy. And then having your first team football appearance at Juventus the year before is crazy. So yeah, I think we have a diamond with him. We have a diamond with Carreras. I think we kind of knew that, Housen must be the real deal. He's tall. He has great distribution, which most of our center backs do. I think Carreras was the underdog here. It was just the signing that, people knew the sofa score and the actual stat people that dove into it deeper knew, but now we really know that that's the underrated one,
I actually have been more impressed with his defense even more than his on-ball ability. He's just his read on blocking shots and being in the right space. He's so imposing, his aerial ability. One thing I would say, he's such a great vertical player that sometimes he forces those passes, even if the corridor was really narrow or it's hard to pull it up. And there was one in the first half today where Levante actually nearly scored from his giveaway. But I mean, he's been awesome. I don't know if you noticed this, but this was pretty amazing. You'll appreciate this. Tell this to Diego too. Did you know Alfredo Di Stefano also scored his first goal for Real Madrid on September 23rd?
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that shit. First
that's
of all,
fate. That's got to be
that's
something. That's
fate,
you guys got to believe in some kind of
for sure.
spiritual energy here, right?
Definitely. And now look. And now look. History.
And
The
now
story
look, Di
here around
Stefano is one
history.
of the goats. I mean, look, I think it is. I almost have to stop myself from getting excited about Mastantuono because it's like I don't want to disappoint myself, but like he just has all the signs. Like when we first scouted him, it was like he was one of only 4 players in Argentinian history to make a start at the age of 16 at the senior national team level.
Yep.
And now he's one of the youngest starters in Real Madrid history. And he just scored on the same day that Alfredo Di Stefano scored his
Crazy.
first goal. All right, I'm done swooning over Mastantuono. I
Wait,
did.
wasn't it his debut, Di Stefano's debut a year ago today also?
Not a year ago today, but probably like 70 years ago.
Yeah. That's 72 years ago. But like to the day. That's what I meant. Not a year.
Was it really?
I think so.
Oh, you know what? I think, yeah, you might be right because Real Madrid did post something about it on their social media.
Yeah, 72 years ago. Not a year.
I want to go over some things from after the game because Lucas Navarrete is actually at the stadium for Managing Madrid, and he did ask Xabi Alonso a question. And I do want to read some of those post-game quotes. I did want to also just point you guys' attention to something on the screen if you're on YouTube. You'll see on the ticker on the bottom there, tacsports.ca. That is TAFC Academy, and we're working with them to come back to Toronto to do a podcast this season, a Managing Madrid podcast. Toronto Athletic FC Academy, their indoor season starting up for all ages. They got house league, recreational, academy, and competitive levels, all the way from U6 to U17 with exciting sponsorship opportunities. Also, fall aquatics, tennis, volleyball, and basketball lessons. Your kids can build confidence and skills in a safe and fun environment. It's perfect for developing skills, teamwork, and fitness. At the core of everything TAFC Academy does, it's helping kids grow in sports, confidence, and leadership in a supportive community. Please head on over to tacsports.ca to register your children if you're in Toronto. So, Lucas actually sent me WhatsApp voice notes, which my phone is my camera. So I'm going to have to turn off my camera, but I'm still here. And I'm going to, if the voice notes come through, then great. If not, I won't play them. So you're going to have to tell me if they work or not, okay? But yeah, he did ask Xabi Alonso about Camavinga. Oh, well, about 40 minutes ago, he texted me and says, I asked Alonso about Camavinga. Stay tuned for the audio, and he never sent an audio. So I hope Lucas is safe. I think he posted on his Twitter, maybe. Okay, his tweet says, I just asked Xabi Alonso about Camavinga's ideal position. He seems really excited about having such a dynamic player who can start and play as a number 6 and finish that same play as a 10.
Facts.
I mean, kind of lost in the excitement of Bellingham's return is obviously Camavinga's return as well. And given Xabi Alonso's track record of getting the best out of players, pretty optimistic about that one as well.
Agreed. I have to add to this before you move on.
Of course.
Someone posted on Twitter a picture of Vinny laughing with the armband.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone said he's laughing because he can talk to the ref now.
Hilarious. Okay. I actually feel like we may have exhausted this one. What, did we miss anything?
7 wins out of 7.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
That's right.
You had hair and now you have none.
Oh, right. That's a super old picture. So I think I feel pretty good about wrapping it up here.
Out of 8.
The hilarious comments in the chat.
Hear me out here. What if, let me put my stocks in early, okay? Yours was Arda. What if we have an undefeated treble season? Just saying.
No comment. It's too early. Too
I
early.
mean, he went undefeated in his first season with Leverkusen. So, undefeated treble season. I'm just saying.
I refuse to entertain that kind of excitement right now. Refuse. One game at a time. One game at a time.
16th Champions League. It's the
a couple comments before I wrap it up. Carlos says just joined and wanted to add Vinicius is the GOAT and he runs the team. Jeff Soba says, will you have a take about the derby or is that a later pod? So on Friday, we're going to do a preview Atletico pod live on YouTube. So I think that's at 11 a.m. Eastern, which is 5 p.m. CET. So take note of that. We are doing a Atletico preview live on YouTube. And thank you so much, DJ Track 78. Leah, you're supposed to be reminding me of this because I always forget.
Subscribe.
Like and subscribe. There's still a ton of you guys live on the stream. If you're here right now, just hit like. It takes 0.0 seconds, 0.0001 seconds for you to hit like. It's zero effort on your part, and it helps the channel tremendously. If you're not subscribed, obviously do that as well. Helps with the algorithm. Leave a comment if you like the video. If you dislike the video, you can feel free to leave a comment as well. No worries. All right. This was fun. We will see you guys. I'll just give you a quick schedule. Tomorrow morning for members, Lucas Navarrete is going to post Madrid mornings. And on Thursday, I don't know yet. I might hop on and do just a live video on YouTube. I'm not sure yet. On Friday, we got 2 pods. One is for members. That's the weekly mailbag. And the other one is for free. That's the Atletico preview. So if you want access to that, and also on Saturday, the Derby podcast is only for members. You guys know for the biggest game of each month is only for members. So if you want to access all of that bonus content, go to patreon.com/Managing Madrid. And if you don't have Patreon in your country, you can also hit join on the memberships tab on this YouTube channel. Same content. You don't have to sign up for both. Just do one of those things. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Leah. This was a fun podcast, fun game, a fun Tuesday night, and we will check you later. Take care. Peace out.